Are you okay? Do you need help? What's wrong? I get these questions at least once a day. Like about 3 days ago, falling down the stairs to basic music theory. But I wouldn't if we changed just one piece of policy. Today, I'm here to talk about accessibility within buildings and what we could do to better today's world. My name is Noah, and I have multiple disabilities, and that prevent me sometimes from getting upstairs and making it difficult for me to go across rugged terrain. I've researched this issue in depth, as well as have my own stories on what places could have done better when giving disabled people a more accessible environment. I'll be talking about the issues, like the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is the Amendments Act of 2008, the product of negotiations between the business community and disability rights advocates. This definition is by the Berkeley Journal of Employment, Labor Law, and Academic Journal, and one solution that some people have come up with. One example of inaccessibility is this very school. You know that long hallway in the basement that leads to the shop rooms? Well, the fastest way to get to that hallway is by taking not 5, not 4, but 3 stairs. What's the point? Why couldn't there have been a ramp? Which, according to the U.S. Access Board, a federal agency that is designed to promote equality for people with disabilities through leadership and inclusive design and development of accessibility guidelines and standards, any slope that is greater than 1/20, as seen in that picture. Not only that, but there is currently only one elevator at this school that is sometimes accessible, which Beloit Memorial had 1,768 students in 2021, according to Beloit Memorial High School's homepage. That's outrageous. For just under 2,000 people, only one elevator is insufficient. Not to mention that a key is needed to enter the elevator, which security guards have, but either harass you when you're supposed to, if you don't have an elevator pass, or they just are difficult to find. One thing to note is that according to Day Elevator, a manufacturer of a lot of elevators, is that generally the Americans with Disabilities Act law calls for an elevator to be installed if your building has 3 or more stories on each floor, or if the floor of the building exceeds over 3,000 square feet. This is just one thing that makes accessibility within buildings hard, but the issue isn't just buildings. No, it's way more than that. Sidewalks are a significant issue in Beloit. For example, the sidewalks could definitely be better. Demaya Wiles described our sidewalks as small and not very accessible. She also didn't think that even a wheelchair could fit through them. I have also noticed that some sidewalks have been closed for about over 2 months. Now, a non-disabled person would be able to walk around the closed portion of the sidewalk, but what about the people in wheelchairs who can't go through the closed portion or around the curb? To prove that this isn't just an issue in Beloit, I'll be talking about my personal experience in Boston, Massachusetts, a city in the US. A US government page for Boston stated that Boston is known as a great walking city. Like many older cities, it was designed with the pedestrian in mind. However, this is different from the experience that I had. I have a walker that I use when I go for long strolls. This walker is best used with straight and less bumpy roads. Boston is the opposite of that. Here's a photo that shows the majority of the historical portions of Boston, the ones where tourists want to see. As you can see, the brick roads aren't accessible at all. I fell at least 6 times during a 3-day trip. The bumps paired with Boston's long hills could have been a better pair. While I've only given you guys 2 examples of this being an issue, this is a pattern anywhere you go in the US. Well, what's the cause, you may ask? Well, it's because business owners don't want to put elevators or ramps in their buildings. Whether that's because they want to avoid the $28,000 to $35,000 that you have to pay to put the elevator in, or to keep the originality of the buildings. Both of these reasons have their separate issues, but the common denominator is why a business owner would prevent 13% of the population, according to Pew Pew Research, a research center based in Washington, D.C., from accessing their businesses, hence not allowing that extra money to come in. All of these issues are only allowed to happen because it's overall hard to understand one document, the ADA. The ADA is a long civil rights document that is very wordy and is very hard to interpret into common folk language. Unless you have a law degree, good luck getting through it. Here's one excerpt from the ADA that is particularly hard to understand. To reject the standards enunciated by the Supreme Court in Toyota Motor Manufacturing Kentucky, Inc. versus Williams, 534 U.S. 184, 2002, that the term sustainability and major in the definition of disability under the ADA needs to be interpreted strictly to create a demanding standard for quality as disabled. I don't know about any of you guys, but I understood around 0% of that statement. What's the solution of this issue, you may ask? Well, this answer is to create a clear, concise document outlining fully what's needed by business owners, definitions of all words that may be hard to understand, and not allowing businesses to find loopholes to get around making their mostly public space inaccessible to 13% of the population. Using that same unclear text, they could have worded it way differently. Overall, I'm asking lawmakers to create a clear, concise document that outlines what businesses must do to eliminate inaccessibility in the public. Of course, I'm not asking you to go out to the streets and burn everything to the ground, as that would make it hard for people to get around. But I do implore you to walk in another person's shoes. Become advocates for change. Together, we can build a world where accessibility is the norm, not the exception. Thank you.